Marcus versus Samson. We are going into Champion Select in just a couple of minutes.
We've got an exciting game today. I think it's going to be a close match. We've got a team looking to prove themselves and a team coming back today.
Yeah, and Royal Reapers, even though they're known as the underdogs of the league, coming third in the spring. Hopefully they can bring the fight to Vuptrox Academy in this game. And we are into Champion Select. We'll see how these pick and bans will pan out.
I think we're still expecting a lot of the flex pick bans. We're going off with the Anivia ban straight away. It's not really a surprise. And also a Karma ban. Karma got recently buffed this patch, so I expect a lot of priority in today's games with her.
So far, we have 100% ban rate in our prep. We said it was going to be the Anivia. We said it was going to be Karma, Lux. We're expecting maybe a Mord. We said the Vladimir as well. I think you have that down in your cast sheet there. So far, we're actually doing pretty well. Anything else that maybe we're expecting to throw in a loop?
I think we're still expecting potentially a Yuumi, because just how strong she is, and we're still expecting the Mordekaiser. So they're still both up in the air, and there's also still Sivir open. Sivir's just so strong right now, and such a priority to be picked.
Well, they're taking away that Sejuani from Krend there, so another power pick in that jungle role, and you can see that taking away a lot of AoE, a lot of gank pressure from that jungler, and as you said, Sivir will be taken off the table, taken away from Kama.
So now we've got to consider what's the first pick. Is it going to, well, 100% is the Aatrox,
Just
straight away.
insta-locked.
No hesitation. It's just a very safe, solid pick right now. You can't really go wrong with him. There isn't many answers to him. His early game's just really safe, and he just scales into an absolute monster.
Especially if you can get that passive proc on his ultimate, and he just doesn't care if he goes down then, and he's insane in those team fights we've seen in the Pro League. Bwipo piloting the Aatrox so well in that top lane. Renekton also another possibility, but the Lovers duo will be locked in for the side of Vuptrox.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with Zyrakan, especially when you get them both at the same time. There's not many answers to them right now. Lux is off the table. There's a Morgana open, so I expect the Morgana Kate, which is locked in straight away.
I think we're actually too good at our jobs, because we did say the Caitlyn Morgana in the prep as well. We're just too good at this. And it's also a sizable answer to the Zyrakan. You have a lot of siege pressure with it as well, and once you get the lockdown with the binding, the Caitlyn traps just go down, and you're in for a world of hurt then, but with a little bit of flexibility on the Aurelia, can go to run down in the top lane or to Toxie in that mid lane.
So yeah, I do like the Aurelia pick here. She can go quite evenly into Aatrox, so it's not even that bad in top lane, but it's just giving you that flexibility that it could be mid too, so you don't know what you're banning next still. It's still
where are we hoping for it to go, Gio? Wanted to go into Toxie, or?
I think first we have to see the mid lane matchup, but generally it's not that bad matchup into Aatrox. Like, you can really snowball on the Aatrox, especially early game.
And Aatrox, in its own right, is that pseudo-flexible sort of pick as well. We've seen it top, we've seen it mid, more in the line to go top lane, but now that we see a few more bans coming out, the Jarvan taken away from Cred as well, a little bit of flexibility in that pick, and also the Corki.
I expect an Ahri ban still. I still think that's up in the air, and I still think that should be a ban here. Not really one to worry about for Royal Reapers, but on the side of Vuptrox, oh, we're going for the Kindred. So I'm expecting some spicy picks in the jungle right now, because the priority junglers are gone. Your Jarvan's gone, your Sejuani's gone, your Kindred's gone. Are we going to see Rek'Sai?
We could do. Both these junglers play Rek'Sai, and Rek'Sai, although she's kind of fallen off with the nerfs to Conqueror, still is okay. It's not one of those kind of S-tier sort of junglers like maybe that Hecarim that we just saw being taken away is, as well as the plethora of other picks that we've seen banned, but it's still a top-tier pick, maybe A, if not B tier.
You usually fall back to the Hail Blades on the Rek'Sai now, but we have the Karthus locked in. So like I said, back to the spicy jungle picks. Now what's the answer going to be into the Karthus? I think Rek'Sai's a good option, I think Elise is a good option.
Need some early jungle pressure either way, just to keep that Karthus down. Hovering the Mumu, I'm not really expecting it. I think it's a little bit of a bait for us here, but if it gets locked in, I'd be so surprised. And one more second, it'll be the Poppy instead. So, jungle Aatrox, mid lane Aatrox, could be jungle Poppy.
We've got the flex pits going on. We've seen Poppy mid being played in pro play recently, just to counter the Aurelia. So it wouldn't surprise me if they actually did that, because it's a very high possibility, and you got very high kill pressure in that lane too. And we got the Rek'Sai being hovered and locked in. Exactly what we expected, an early game pick to deal with that Karthus, to put that pressure on.
I actually like, you know, the kind of disco comp coming out from the side of Vuptrox with their summoner spells in their bot lane and their mid lane. They just go with the cleanse and ghost just for a little bit of a messing around. But what were we expecting or hoping to round out this composition?
I'm expecting a control mage. Oh,
Mordekaiser,
Not
you
at
want
all.
some control. He gives you a lot of control.
I think that's a really smart pick. He does insanely well into tanks. Like, any tank would just get shredded. And if they do send that Poppy top lane, which I think they will, I think that's very favored in Mordekaiser's favor. It's going to be really easy to snowball on that lane. I think the Rek'Sai will put a lot of pressure on that top lane to keep that Mord out of the game. 100%.
We were hoping for the Mordekaiser, or expecting the Mordekaiser to be banned away in either the first or second phase of the ban rotations, but he just gets left to the very last pick there for Vuptrox, and I was a little worried from Vuptrox with the kind of team composition that they're putting together. They have the Karthus, which can be pressured out a lot early, especially if they can pick an early jungler like the Rek'Sai that eventually got picked from the Royal Reapers. So does the Mordekaiser round this composition out quite nicely, or are we still worried for Vuptrox?
I think the Mordekaiser fits perfectly. You've got enough magic damage, and you've got so much more pressure with the Karthus just being alive as it is. So it's going to give Mordekaiser even more 1v2 potential just having a Karthus in the team.
So is there any way to keep this Mordekaiser down? You said Rek'Sai will want to put the pressure in that top lane, potentially in the first few levels, but Rek'Sai lacks that amount of damage early. Poppy doesn't have a huge amount of damage until she starts to get one, maybe two items, and starts to get a bit tankier as well. So Mordekaiser will have the level 6 by then, taking any 1 versus 2 into a 1 versus 1.
That's true, but the only thing you can do is camp him early. As soon as he hits that level 6, it is very hard to do much to him, because he's just going to send one to the Shadow Realm. He could literally use that just to walk away. We could use it to kill them, come back with a lot more HP than you expected because you can't see it, and then kill them too. So there's a lot more you can do with it.
So we're expecting for Karthus. Well, Karthus doesn't really put any early jungle pressure down anywhere. He just waits for his ult. But how we're expecting this early first 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 3 or 4 levels even, to be playing out from either side. Rek'Sai maybe camping top lane, but how is the bot lane matchup really going to work out for us?
I expect overall in this game, on the side of Royal Reapers, they're all going to be wanting to push their lanes early. They want to get.
There's. Oh, there you are. Did I disconnect or did you disconnect?
You. I was still here.
I cannot hear Varus. I do not know if the stream is getting it through or if it's just me.
Can you hear me now? Hello, Doctor.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
You
I
can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Royal Reapers, what I expect, they're all going to push their lanes early. Every single one of them are going to push early to get that pressure for Rek'Sai.
Right.
And Rek'Sai is going to look to push that pressure into invading and into putting as much pressure down on that Karthus. It should be very easy for lanes to push. Caitlyn Morgana, very notorious pick into Zyra Khan. All they're going to do is push that lane, getting that damage on the tower, getting them platings. Aatrox, very simple to push. You've got your Darkin Blade, you're just going to be hitting the wave, kind of ignoring Aurelia early. And Poppy, she just has way more push priority. Her Q comes up a lot faster than Mordekaiser's will. So, it'll be interesting to see how they play around Royal Reapers pushing them in. Because that's what I expect here.
I actually kind of like that the Mordekaiser is looking for it to be pressured and ganked early, because you have Karthus who wants to be pressured early by the Rek'Sai as well, so you kind of have to pick and choose which you want to put the pressure down on, where you want to put that early priority.
Yeah, very much so. And bot lane's pretty hard to gank by both teams. So it's going to be interesting seeing how they play around that. Are they going to 4-man the bot lane with Karthus and Aurelia? Or is it going to go the other way around and look to 5-man the bot lane with Poppy moving down with a TP or something along those lines?
Well, we are into the loading screen for our first game of 2 in week 3, day 2. So it'll be interesting to see how this game will work out, and seems to be pretty relatively normal keystones and masteries throughout the teams. So we'll see where these teams will decide to go for their level 1s. Not really expecting too much, maybe a little invade with Morgana, but kind of expecting a 5-man spread from both sides.
Two things I wanted to point out. We've got the TP on mid lane by Aatrox. I kind of expected the Ignite, just to counter any healing from Aurelia's kit, because she does heal off her Q, and if she does get a Wit's End, which is not going to be likely this game at all, but if she does, it's still more healing added on. So she's going with the TP just to stay in lane, just to keep as much pressure as possible. And Mordekaiser went Resolve instead of Domination. Commonly, a lot of people go Domination for double healing, just to be even more obnoxious and harder to kill. So it's interesting to see that he's gone Resolved in this matchup.
Does it maybe speak to the fact that he knows that he needs to be pressured or prioritized by Caracal in this early part of the game?
I think potentially, yeah, it's going to be the Poppy harassing him down with her Buckler, her passive, as much as possible. So I think he's maybe just gone for more sustain.
Well, we are onto the ref for the first game of Royal Reapers versus Vuptrox Academy, and it's going to be interesting to see what both sides do, because both are looking to prove themselves, and Royal Reapers are looking to show themselves as one of these top teams since they did finish 3rd in the last split. They want to show that they can be number 1.
I'd just like to point out, we've got no items on Xayah right now. She's walked out the base with no items, so I expect them to try pick up on that very soon, so she doesn't come to lane very late.
Hopefully they will. Just waiting for the back to come through.
They're still not noticed, so
at least they aren't going for an early invade, and there hasn't been an invade coming out from Royal Reapers either, so not going to be punished for not having items, but maybe it's one of these weird strats that they're trying to pioneer.
It's getting to the 1 minute point though. It's getting to what's the point of the minion spawning, so it's getting a bit late now. They still haven't noticed.
Oh, minions have spawned. Too late now. Well,
still
almost.
Just see the standard face-off. Royal Reapers getting a ward in to try see where Karthus wants to start. Kind of just standard really, and Karthus is going to start on his top side, which I expected, because you don't want to get invaded and lose your jungle camps to that Rek'Sai. You want to get as many camps as possible, farm as fast as possible to hit that level 6, to put that pressure down on the map.
Well, on the bright side, Retromaster has noticed that he doesn't have any items, has backed, and we'll have to keep an eye on and see how many CS he'll miss out there. Probably at least half the wave here, as they're actually going to try and freeze the wave in the central part of the lane, try and deny as much CS as possible.
So what's interesting here is that the junglers didn't force vertical jungle, which I think would have benefited them a lot more, because then you can pressure that Mord. I think that should have been the ideal scenario, but the Karthus is jungling, so that can't happen. They're doing everything they can to avoid that, and we just see some standard trading in the top lane.
Yeah, not too bad from either side, and I have to keep an eye on this mid lane matchup, especially with the more kill pressure that Toxie has with that Ignite that you pointed out. Omena decided to go with the TP, so he has less kill pressure in the lane, and Axel doing a lot of damage, and Claw will not connect for it to bring him back, but he's landing a Decimate and gets the shield as well. So nice trading in favor of Axel.
I think it's really important that you mentioned the Ignite in the mid lane, because it's so important in this matchup, because Aatrox heals a massive amount. If you have no grievous wounds, that Aatrox is going to take over team fights. He has so much pressure in team fights, so just having that Ignite is so important here.
Axel actually quite lucky there in the top side that the Claw pulled him underneath the tower, but the minion was there. Out comes Wall of Pain, now throwing out the skills. Can this be first blood? Forced to flash away already as Axel's in a lot of trouble. One auto attack will secure first blood for the side of Vuptrox.
Really smart gank by the Karthus there. Kren just seen he was out of position, seen he was pushing, and punished him for it. But on the other side of the map, we see the Rek'Sai instantly counter jungling, no hesitation. So Karthus is going to lose a lot for this, but I do think this is worth it.
Yeah, definitely is. He picked up first blood for himself, and now in the bottom side, they're actually going to trade it back around, force the flash out of tilt proof there, and built over Peacemaker will not connect, but they did get the better of the trade. Ignite used by Francesco, but I'd call that worth it.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing with that top lane now, that top lane's going to get camped. There's no flash on that Poppy, so she's just going to be target number one. And it's going to fall back to that Mord getting ahead. Mord is going to get ahead of this. He will start picking up more and more of a lead, and the Coffers is just pressuring.
Yep, and he's just going to force the flash out of Amena, trade one back. Caracal will survive. I mean, Amena will survive, and Caracal will help him out there, pick up his first kill of the game, and it's just a little too over-aggressive from Toxie. He used both summoners, and he still went down.
Yeah, it's kind of odd, because the lane matchup is going opposite to what I expected. The Aatrox didn't push at all. He let the Aurelia push, and because of that, the Aurelia actually got punished for the early game. And Aatrox will start to scale a bit better into this matchup. So Aurelia losing that early game pressure is so detrimental here.
And with that flash being down as well, Caracal can just come back into the lane and just repeatedly gank him, make sure that he can stay down, try and get Amena ahead. And even though Krend is on this Karthus, we didn't really expect him to be making these early ganks that we saw punish Axi on the top lane earlier, but it's interesting that it actually managed to work out. And with the pressure that's being exerted now in the mid and in the bottom side, it means that Krend might be able to do it again, but in somewhere else on the map.
Right now, I think a lot of the focus is going to be around mid. If Krend does not help this Aurelia break this freeze, it's going to be so bad for her. She's going to fall behind. She's already fallen behind on CS. She's nearly 10 CS behind in a matchup where Aatrox is just going to scale into a monster. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Karthus does come to relieve any pressure mid. Right now you see the Rek'Sai lurking, looking for that opportunity to counter gank.
He just knows that there are no summoners available. If Toxie pushes too far forward, out he comes, and we'll get the Unburrowed knock-up. He has the stun. Infernal Chains will not connect. Actually, just about connects there, and Toxie goes down once again to Karka.
And we see that freeze is still there. So it's just going to get even worse with this Aurelia. It's going to become even more hard for her to contest this Aatrox at any point in the game at this point.
Nothing that Krend can do just yet. He's just waiting for that level 6 to try and help out his lanes, using that Requiem and starting to stack up his passive for his Dark Harvest. It's, as you said, Toxie just can't do anything. He's 20 CS behind. He's just going to keep bleeding out more and more.
Very much so, and that's just going to see what's going to be the target for Vuptrox, because right now your focus should either be top or bot. Mid is kind of a lost cause here, so you need to make something happen on the map, and honestly the best option is bot, even though it's going to be hard to gank.
Krend just flashes away, gets the flash out of Caracal, but not gonna get anything for it. He'll just be going down. Doesn't have his level 6 to try and get some damage back. Flash from Francesco will be worth it because Amena picks up a kill onto the enemy mid laner.
Right now, Royal Reapers just have so much pressure in those lanes. Bot lane permanently pushed just means they can react first. They can always be there before them. And now they get the dragon off this. They get a kill, they get a dragon. They're going to snowball this lead really hard, I believe.
And we had such high hopes coming into this game with the draft from Vuptrox, and we're expecting a lot of things from Rundown on this Mordekaiser. Toxie, we know he's a Nivea one-trick, so having that taken away from him is a huge blow. But we expect him as a Master Tier player to be playing a little bit better on some of the other power picks like the Aurelia, but maybe he's playing a little bit too aggressively, needs to temper his aggression a bit.
I think they played into Royal Reaper's win condition, and because of that, it bit themselves, basically. Because that Aurelia pushing that lane early was so much for like a level 2 gas to try all in the Aatrox early, and it didn't pay off at all. In future, I feel like it's better to let the Aatrox push, because then you can scale up, you can get your Tiamat, and you can start contesting the Aatrox a hell of a lot more. It's just interesting to see how this was played out in the mid lane.
Well, we still have that one condition of Rundown on the Mordekaiser. He's starting to get well ahead of Axi on this top lane. He's 30 CS, his superior, and he's starting to get a lot more damage. He has a sizable amount of gold in his pocket. He has 1100 gold now free to spend. He has that blasting wand as well. 800 gold over Axile in this lane. So he's feeling good right now, but is it enough to try and help out his team? He has a little bit of help from Kren from the level 6.
We've still got to potentially worry about the mid game here.
A lot of damage coming down onto Tiltproof in the bottom side. Kren still has the ultimate available, doesn't have a lot of mana, so it'll just sizzle out in this bot side as Zyra will just block for the support. But Karkal looking for something here onto Kren, dodges the other way, thinks that he's going to go that way, still gets the knock-up, still gets the kill. Karkal has 4-0.
So the main thing I wanted to touch on, if the Vuptrox want to get back in this game, they have to delay this game by at least 20 minutes. If they do manage to delay this game, the Mord and the Carthus can take over. It doesn't matter about the rest of the laners, the Mord and the Carthus can take over this game in like 20 minutes. But it's how they can delay that. Right now, they don't really have wave clear. Like, it's going to be a lot harder because you've got an Aurelia. Sorry. You've got Aurelia mid lane. You don't have a control mage, you've only got a Mord. So, it's going to be how they stall this, and I don't see how they could. It's going to be so difficult.
It is going to be really, really hard. And you just feel bad for the Mordekaiser, who's actually doing quite well in that matchup. It's a matchup that you said, once you lock in a tank into the Mordekaiser, it's not going to be a good day for you. You're not going to have a fun time. But then if you look at the rest of the map, it's 30 CS difference between the AD carries, almost a 30 CS difference between the two mid laners, and Krend just can't really do anything at this point. He's against an early game jungler in the Rek'Sai, and he's trying to stack up and be useful for his team, but it's not really working out as the Soul Shackles come down in the bottom lane. He's underneath the tower, take a few tower shots just for the crack of it. Francesco almost goes down. Requiem, will it be enough to secure the kill? It just about isn't.
And we see the dive being set up here, the Aatrox going in for the dive.
Almost enough damage on his own underneath the tower, manages to proc the passive as the Rek'Sai is into the back, will take the tower shot just for good measure and will be going down to the Mordekaiser. He will get his first kill of the game as the Death's Hand will force the flash out of Omena, but the tower shot is not enough to secure the kill on him.
So this TP by Mord was actually more important than you'd think. Saving that tower actually saves Vuptrox a lot of trouble. It stopped the bot lane snowball and stopped them getting more gold. Aurelia gets more free time. It means so much that he actually reacted and TP'd there. And even getting that bounty on the Rek'Sai was really nice for the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, it's really going to help him out a huge amount, and it could be a saving grace for the side of Vuptrox, but it feels like as if it's just a little bit of a bandage on the wound right now. We're talking about 2 minutes ago about how they can try and get back into this game. That was at 9 minutes. That is not exactly what you want to hear if you're a fan of Vuptrox, that you're trying to stem the bleeding 9 minutes, 10 minutes into a game. And they are 2,500 gold behind Royal Reapers at this point. 7 kills to 2, no towers have been taken yet, so they have that saving grace as well.
We see a 1.3k gold lead in the mid lane as well. Aatrox has a full black cleaver already, so that Aatrox is spiking so hard right now. As soon as he gets 30% CDR, Aurelia cannot do a single thing. Already as it is, I don't think Aurelia can do a single thing. It's just going to get even worse for the girl.
Yeah, it feels like he actually can't do anything in the 1v1. Needs to just roam about, try and get a matchup that he could actually do something with. Maybe into Pam on this Caitlyn, but then always has Francesco nearby on the Morgana, so has to try and dodge that. So you just feel bad for Toxie at this point. Not really much they can do. They just need to try and scale up a little bit and try and help out the team wherever they can.
Interested to see that we've gone with a Rylo's first item on the Mordekaiser. I think that's just for more kill pressure to stay on that Poppy, so Poppy can't run away. Usually you would see your Haunted Guys into Rylo's, just for the more percent of health damage. Because already your passive does 3%, and then you add that on top of Haunted Guys, it just becomes a lot of percent of health damage.
And they dropped Shelly in that middle lane as well, forces the flash out of Krenda. They're just pushing in with so much pressure in this bottom side as Death's Hand comes out with the Obliterate in the top side, run down, uses his shield, goes indomitable. Does he have enough damage to take down Axel without going down himself? Gets knocked up with the Keeper's Verdict flash, but in the wrong direction. You're towards the enemy tower there, Axel. You should be going down yourself. Buckler will keep him alive a little bit longer. Run down doesn't want to risk going down.
Oh, it was so important. The whiff on the Q. Is the Carthus damage going to be enough? No, it's not. Poppy still lives here. The whiff on the Q by Mord there was the difference between a kill there. And that was so important and so unlucky that he missed it there.
It's actually really well played from Axel, though. I didn't expect him to be able to try and get that much damage down onto Mord in this matchup, especially being 50 CS down on his lane opponent. And he has a Bami Cinder, he has a Spectre's Cowl. That's not exactly damageable items.
Yeah, very much so. He did play it well. He dodged a lot of the skill shots really well, and the stun into the wall was really nice. It delayed Mord doing more damage to him. So it was really smartly played by him, and he did get a lot of damage down just by playing it really smart. Right now is going to be looking into what they're going to do next, because it's going to be so hard for Vuptrox to stall this. Right now, you've got the Caitlyn and Morgana going to top lane. They're going to take that tower. You should see Rek'Sai start to move up too once she's got her red buff, just to protect that bot lane, so there's no chance of them losing that lead.
And they also have pressure on that mid lane tower as well. That's very, very low at this point in favor of Royal Reapers. So very much Royal Reaper favored at this point. I think it's a little bit of an understatement to say. They have Mounted Drake as well as the Cloud Drake, extra damage to neutral objectives, extra rotational ability as well. But Rundown is the only saving grace at the moment for the side of Vuptrox, and he's not even doing hugely well into the 1v1 with Axel just now. He's actually taking a lot of damage, so their saving grace not doing too well even at this point, as forces the ultimate out of a mana here. Vanguard's Edge gets used, but it's not going to really do anything as he goes with the round entrance. Pam is in a lot of trouble. Francesco is going in with the Soul Shackles. It's onto 2, now onto 1. Will stun him down. Bindy will also connect the heal. Not quite enough from Retro Master. Has to use the Blade Collar just to get the root down. Try and get away from Caracal. I'm going to get a little bit of damage back down. Amena is now nearby. Do they want to go for this tower dive?
I think they do, definitely. This seems like a very simple tower dive. There's only Zaya left without no ult.
Slash knock up, easy peasy. Take that kill, lemon squeezy, and just gets the headshot. Lands the pulled over Peacemaker, but double kill will go over to Caracal.
I think the mid lane play with Aurelia, I think she forced way too much aggression there, where she could have looked to been that first one to move towards that top lane. She could have been the one reacting first, but because she made that play and used her ult, it means you can't do a single thing. Once you don't have ult and you're that far behind on Aurelia, it makes it even harder to make any plays to help your team. So I think that matters so much, that she wasted too much forced aggression on the mid lane.
Run down. He's just being run down here by the Poppy. Poppy actually surprisingly tanky at this point. Axel still taking a bit of damage here. Dodges away from the Death's Hand. The flash forward from the Mordekaiser as well. Gonna be completely wasted there. Axel manages to get to the safety of his tower. And these 1v1s, they're being really close, even though there's a 60 CS difference between the two laners. And Mordekaiser is meant to be winning this matchup.
Yeah, very much so. Like, this is a very Mord favored matchup. And the Poppy's just playing it really well. Axel gets the ult off there, pushes the Mord away, just delaying that ult time, and then gets the stun. It's just so important how well he's actually playing this matchup, and it just stops Mord from snowballing. And right now, like we said, their win condition was that Mordekaiser, and he's not able to snowball.
He has 2 items now as well. He's just not really doing much damage at all. Once he lands his ultimate, then he's starting to do a bit of damage, turn the 1v1 back around, but he needs to get a little bit more magic penetration. Even though he has his magic penetration passive, it's not really helping him out a huge amount. And almost has 1 item now on Axel, and he's still able to go pretty much even in the 1v1.
And we have just over a 6k gold lead in this game as well. So it's even harder now, because just the items that Royal Reapers are getting, it's just making it hard for Vuptrox to do a single thing. And right now, I think they're just waiting for picks before the Baron. As soon as Royal Reapers get Baron, I think it's game over. So Vuptrox really need to make something happen.
They definitely do. It had to flash Krend there to get away from the potential knockup, potential stun from Caracal, and he just has to play so respectively against the Royal Reapers roster right now. As you said, 6,000 gold difference between the two teams. They're just waiting for this Mounted Drake to come back up, so they have even greater siege potential with their Caitlyn, with their Poppy even to some extent. And they're just gonna pick this up completely uncontested. We're not even 20 minutes in, and we're not even thinking about the Baron just yet, but one will have to assume that's going to go over pretty uncontested as well.
I honestly feel like Royal Reapers could literally 5-man group right now and just siege to win the game, because I don't think there's a single thing Vuptrox can do. You need a miracle engage by Rakan to actually be able to do anything, but even then I think he will die very fast and it's not going to matter. So honestly, I just want to see Royal Reapers just set up a siege or keep the Aatrox in the side lane with TP and then just go for like a 4-man siege.
We said it a few times that rundown on the Mordekaiser is that saving grace for the side of Vuptrox, but is there anything that he can really do, or anything that Vuptrox can really do to try and get back into this game? 6,000 gold behind, they have no towers taken just yet, they have no Drakes, they've like 2 kills to their name. Is there anything they can actually do?
There's a few things. There's the classic Death Brush. As cheesy as it sounds, it could honestly be the saving grace for them if they do pull off a Death Brush. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll have that in mind. I think right now it's just looking to get them flank engages with Rakan. If you get an amazing engage, getting like a 3-man charm into a knockup could be the saving grace, but I don't think they have any damage follow-up at all.
Can you win team fights? That is the big question, because even though you managed to get a red buff there, it's really gonna do nothing. Krend is just gonna go down. He has his ultimate, but he's not even gonna use it. He knows that it's just gonna be a complete waste. He'll probably use it when he gets back up, if at all, and that gives over a free Baron timer to the side of Royal Reapers. They're just straight onto it. They know that they won't be able to contest it whatsoever.
And we also got a heal out of Xayah there. She wasted a heal to try save the Karthus, which was kind of very optimistic.
Very overly optimistic, I think you could say.
Yeah. And now we're just going to see that Baron siege. That's all we're going to see, and I don't think there's any stopping this. Maud can't pressure enough to actually stop Poppy. Poppy's just going to keep Maud there. Now it's Baron minions. Baron minions for Maud is a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not really gonna make this 1v1 very fun. Yes, he has his Shadow Isles ultimate available to get the 1v1 and get rid of those Baron empowered minions, but it feels like as if it's a losing battle. You can't 1 versus 9 with a Mordekaiser. Not a 2-item Mordekaiser in the very least, and Krend is gonna come to this bottom side now to try and help him out, but he's just alone in his own jungle trying to farm it up, trying to still get these passive stacks, and Axel with the Buckler passive just gets a lot of damage down. Just nothing you could do from Vuptrox.
No, not at all. This game is way out of the hands of Vuptrox by the gold lead and the Baron, so I honestly just expect Royal Reapers to slowly close this out.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're doing a 1-3-1 now and just managed to go for this tower dive, pops the World Ender. Doesn't even need the passive to survive this, but we'll pick it up anyway, and they're just going to siege in this tier 2. Tier 2 in the bottom side as well. They picked up a tier 2 in the middle lane, and now rotating with this Caitlyn Morgana, and those headshots with 2 Mountain Drakes are going to shred through these neutral objectives.
I think the Karthus pick here was very brave, considering both junglers main early game junglers. When there's picks like Rek'Sai as the most played, and you're playing a jungler that has no pressure early, it's very brave to pick it into a team that looks very strong.
I'm not sure if I'd call it brave, or there's another word that I feel like Sif would be more accurate, but naive. It's towards that sort of word, but not quite naive, because it feels like you're not playing to your own strengths as a team, or as a jungler in the very least, because as you said, they like to play those early game junglers like the Rek'Sai, Elise to some extent, the Kindred as well that we've seen, even though she scales really well into the late game if you can get the marks. But it feels like as if you're kind of just ending your own game before it's even started, as 1v1 will be won by rundown, but you're not gonna get anything from it.
I think very much you're right. Like, Vuptrox did have the opportunity to pick that Rek'Sai, and then you're left with a smaller champion pool for Caracal, but they didn't do it. I don't know what the idea was. They might not have been planning to pick Maud at all. They might have been looking towards something else, but I think if they picked Rek'Sai, it would have favoured them a lot more and brought a lot more pressure to their team.
Well, unfortunately for Vuptrox, they have no pressure whatsoever, barely any wave clear. It's mostly onto the Xayah, and Xayah isn't really going to do much at this point. Has one item, just the Essence Reaver, into a 2.5 item Caitlyn. So not really going to be able to do anything, especially with the Rapid Fire Cannon for the extra headshot capabilities from the range. And we talked about saving graces, we talked about coming back into this game for Vuptrox, but what you really need is to be able to win team fights, which you can't do. You won't be able to get the Baron. Baron won't be up for another 2 or 3 minutes yet, and it just feels like you're slowly bleeding out, and it's almost like as if RR are playing with their food. As Toxie is just going to be the target here, uses his ultimate, but seems like Sif is not really going to do anything, but Omena will back away, doesn't want to take the fight just in case it gives him a little added gold.
I think that was very smart by Omena, because you've wasted the Ignite of Aurelia. And she's not going to have that for the next time you fight her. You've got 2 open inhibs, and now Aurelia's without ult. Aurelia's without ult, and she's behind. She is not going to do a single thing.
Doesn't even have 2 items, just has that Trinity Force to the 2 items, 2.5 items almost, from Omena on this Aatrox. So it feels pretty bad when you're trying to 1v1 that Aatrox. As you said earlier on, you don't want to play into a fed Aatrox as a Aurelia because he's just going to become that raid boss, and once he gets a reset on his ultimate as well, he's just going to keep being that raid boss. Caracal is looking for something to eat, something to nom on. Rundown will use his ultimate just to get the 1v1, make sure that he can try and get out and not be able to be just pile driven by the side of Or. And he's just going to back away with the rest of his team, try and defend, try and hold out a little bit longer. And we said at the 9-minute mark you need to hold out for at least another 20 minutes. That 20 minutes did nothing for the side of Vuptrox.
Yeah, very much. They just kept the foot under pressure in the entire game. Now they're defeated. There's nothing they can do at all. You've got no Mortal now, so they can just literally go hard, and I believe they can just win a fight.
Quickness, they're going to try and win this fight on the side of Vuptrox, but Omena will just pick up the Rakan, chew him up, spit him out. Rundown goes golden just to buy a little bit of time, but the double kill will come through for Omena. Requiem being used off to the side as well, doesn't have enough damage to get even 1 kill for his team here. Omena is the target of Toxie here. Can they take him out? The answer looks like it's going to be a no, but it's actually going to be a yes as Cred picks up his 2nd kill of the game. They're going to take it in him now. They're going to back away, but Toxie, he's looking for more.
I think that was extremely optimistic by Karthus walking up to a Caitlyn like that. And
questionable. That's the word I think I was looking for earlier. Questionable.
Despite the way that fight went, I still don't think it does much for Vuptrox. Because right now, your inhib's gone. There's top open, bot's very low. They're just going to go top. Mid's going to push in. What are you going to do? You're going to wait for the minions. The minion's going to push in. And then there's another inhib gone. What is your plan there? And it's like, you have to engage again and hopefully get a miracle fight. But I don't think it's that easy.
It's definitely, it sounds hard the way you say it. I think it's going to be even harder to execute.
Yeah,
You're
very much so.
Double mountain, double cloud. They have so much pressure on the map. As you said, 1 inhib down, 1 inhib exposed, and Roll Reapers are just onto the Baron. You have to try and contest this as a flashless Karthus. And you can't even get there on time to try and contest it, as Omena's over the wall as well, and instantly tilt-proof, who I really hope for his sake is really tilt-proof in this game, because he's just being decimated with the rest of his team. Omena just picks up a double kill there for free. That's 2 down on the side of the bot lane. Actually, 3 down, I should say, on the side of Vuptrox, with the passive from Cred going down in the end. And there's just nothing you can do. You just have to watch the rest of your base go down. Nothing that Toxie and Rundown can do to try and defend this. That will be Royal Reapers taking the first game of the day, and Rundown is just going to try and do something as he takes the Morgana into the Netherrealm, but Morgana will use the Soul Shackles, will use the Stopwatch just to go buy himself a little bit of time. Mordekaiser will be taken down eventually. 2-2. His KDA looks nice, but nothing he can do to try and defend this Nexus. Nothing he can do to try and save his team, but the Requiem will come out just in case, pick up another kill with that Requiem, but too little, too late. Royal Reapers will pick up the win.
Very much went the way of just the Rek'Sai running this game. Rek'Sai just put down her pressure instantly. Despite the first blood on Karthus, it wasn't enough. The Rek'Sai just made so much happen in this game, and just that early aggression from Aurelia came back to bite her. And you see the priority here. They did get the mod. But what did
They
it
did.
mean? It didn't mean a thing.
Which means you don't always need to ban the Mordekaiser or plan your roster, plan your tactics around that Mordekaiser. You need to go through your pick and ban and say, this is what we need to try and support our Mordekaiser to go for that scaling.
Very much so. And you just see Raw Reapers played around it perfectly. They played really smart. And they played quite slow early. And then as soon as it hit the mid game, they put their foot on the gas and just didn't let any pressure go at all.
Unfortunately for Vuptrox, I've been pronouncing it incorrectly. I was putting in an added M for no apparent reason. I have it written down as Vuptrox, so my bad on that. Vuptrox, unfortunately, do not win that game, and even though it played relatively well for rundown, the rest of the team seemed to run it down, and they didn't really do it. I just did it for the pun, so please don't flame me in the chat. But it will be Royal Reapers picking up another win for themselves, and in a very effective manner. Omena looked really comfortable on the Aatrox, and as you said, Caracal pick up one of his comfort champions. You kind of want to take that away from him. Nothing more to really be said about that. So EUS, I've been told, has FF'd, so we're going to be streaming BRG versus VPX next, so we'll be back in just a few minutes.